Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome. I am going to share with you today what to do when you're not losing weight and that scale is not moving and you're taking a GLP-1 medication. I'm one of the best people to talk to you about this topic because I can totally relate. I've experienced times when I wasn't losing weight and I had to make some adjustments. I call it tweaking things. I will share with you exactly what I tweaked to get to my 77 pounds down. So I'm just going to catch you up. I have been taking Mounjaro. I am down 77 pounds. I'm very excited about that. I'm on the road to getting to that 100 pounds down. So let's just get into it. What do you do when the scale is not moving? Here are 10 game-changing tips, and a lot of them aren't what you always hear. So stick around. Don't just think everything's going to be about protein, even though I may mention that. But I do have some really good tips in here that have helped me. So number one, I want to share with you something that may not be popular, but it worked for me. And that was tracking to be sure I was eating enough. Not to make sure I'm not overeating, but actually to make sure I'm eating enough. And, that's a real thing because a lot of times these GLP-1 medications suppress your appetite. And you may feel full. And when you feel full, you think it's because you're eating a lot or your mind may have tricked you into thinking that, but actually you're not eating enough. So I want you to make sure you're tracking. Now, the app I use is PEP. I use PEP. It was designed to help GLP-1 users track their journey. What I like about it is it tracks your side effects. It tracks your water, your macros. It just tracks everything you want to know pretty much about what's going on your GLP-1 journey. So I would tell you to check with your doctor before you eat any amount of calories or a nutritionist if you have one. But I would say at least get 1,200 to 1,500 calories. Now, if for some reason you can't even get the 1,200, for sure contact your doctor and find out why. If you can't get 1,200 calories at least, I would definitely be meeting with a doctor or a healthcare professional because you're going to need some sort of intervention and plan to get you eating. I want you to also prioritize that protein. I heard this a lot on my journey at the beginning, and I wasn't always following it because I'm a carb girl. So when I got that plate, I was eating the carbs first and mixing them with the protein. And once I started having struggles as I went up on dose with getting that protein in, eating the protein first really is helpful. So I would make sure you do that. Food is not our friend, right? Think about food as your fuel. Number two is something we talk a lot about. I was going to put this as maybe number 10 because we talk so much about it, but it's so important. I'm going to leave it at number 2. And number 2 is do some strength training. Now, wait a minute before you click off. I'm not telling you to do strength training, be in that gym, hitting it hard like you're a weight training superstar. I'm telling you, and you can build up to that, right? If that's your goal. But I'm telling you to start off with about 10 minutes a day. It is helpful to start off with like 10 minutes 2 to 3 times a week. Just start there. Start where you are. And I would start there and build your way up. Building your way up doesn't mean doing it every single day. It could just mean doing it instead of 10 minutes, now you're doing it 12 minutes. Instead of 12 minutes, now you're doing it 15 minutes. And build your way up. Because if you start off saying, I'm going to do 30 minutes 3 times a week, and your muscles might be sore, you might hurt something, you might have just went in too hard, too fast, and it's going to deter you from keeping that going. Muscle is going to be your secret weapon on this journey, and I didn't always believe that, but I know that to be true. Strength training boosts your metabolism, protects your lean mass, and it helps your body burn more fat even while you're resting. So start with some resistance bands, move on to your body weight, and finally, finish with those dumbbells. You could use dumbbells at home. Once you get so good that you're not challenging yourself at home, then you can move to a gym. That's just kind of like a slow progression to getting that weight training in. So good luck. Remember, even once a week, if you can't do 2 to 3, it's a great start, and that makes a difference. Number 3, do not rush to increase your dose. Do not do that. I've seen that happen in this community time and time again where people are titrating up. It seems like really fast. And I'm going to say to you, if you're doing this with and the approval of your doctor, I think that's fine. But if you're somebody out here that's looking to, the GLP-1 community, the YouTube content creators on when to titrate up and when to go up a dose, I'm going to tell you, if I were you, I would hold back on just moving up a dose, because going up a dose does not always mean more weight loss. And I think people attribute, going up there to lose some more weight. And I am proof that that's not always true. I actually 12.5 and I still have a ways to go. I've been on it for a couple months now, maybe a little bit more, but I've lost weight so far on the lower doses than I have been on the 12.5. So it just depends. It just depends. So seeing great results on those lower doses, stay on those lower doses as long as you're seeing the weight loss. And as long as you're seeing improvements in your labs, I would stay on those lower doses. But again, this is just hashtag my opinion. I would contact your doctor and make sure it's okay with your doctor. But, I remind you that going up high into those higher doses, you might get some side effects that you weren't expecting. Sometimes more side effects and no weight loss. So really talk with your doctor about that. And I'm just going to tell you just to, how your body feels on a dose. I would go by that. Check how your body feels before you make a change. So that's why having one of those apps, or if you're journaling, keeping track of your, the side effects and how you are feeling is going to really help guide you on your journey. So number 4 is something that works for me. I'm going to tell you, cutting off my eating past 7:30 works for me. The reason why that works so well for me is because I don't want to lay down and feel like full, or feel like I'm bloated, or feel like I'm laying down on my food. And so I like to cut off that eating and give my body a chance to digest it, even though we already know this medication is making our, digestion slower. So I don't want to eat it late and then just kind of lay down on it. And there have been times where I went past 7:30 and instead of eating a full-blown meal, I would eat a protein bar or a protein shake just to get my protein in. So I'm pretty careful about that. I've been known to cut off my eating a little bit earlier. This is a win for me, because I remember I used to go to bed and I would eat late. And think about it, eating late gives you that opportunity to snack, right? And so I don't ever want to have that going on. That's one thing I've been really good about sticking to. So you might want to try that. It also helps with intermittent fasting. If you're doing intermittent fasting and if you're trying to eat later in the day, if you cut it off earlier, you can still do that intermittent fasting, but maybe eat a little bit earlier if you're cutting it off earlier. So that's just a thought. When I do that, it's helping me burn fat overnight, right? They can eat whenever. It hasn't affected their weight. I know people who have heartburn or reflux, eating and laying down can be a contributor to that. So I would just be careful. It's a tip that has worked for me. Number 5, I can't say enough, reevaluate your sleep, your water, and your stress. All those things are going to sabotage your weight loss if you're not doing those, right? Getting that water in, ounces at least. If you're drinking more, I would make sure that was okay with your doctor. There is a such thing as drinking too much water. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. 8 is a perfect number in the middle if you can get those 8 hours in. And, just lower stress, take walks, do some journaling. Have times in your day where you can decompress and just kind of your thoughts and get your mind off of all these things that can bog us down. So I would definitely practice, some kind of stress relieving activities or exercise to help you with that. And remember, chronic stress leads to more cortisol being released, which leads to stubborn fat. And we don't want that. So do not skip this part about relieving your stress, sleep, and water. Number 6, get a DEXA scan or get a body composition scan. I'm going to tell you, I can't say enough good things about DEXA scan. I was not a DEXA fan at the beginning of my journey, and I didn't get one. And then when I got a DEXA scan, my only thought was I should have done it sooner. So a DEXA scan or an in-body scan is going to measure your fat mass, your lean mass, your bone density. What I love about it is it tells you how much visceral fat you have, which is that dangerous fat around your organs. And they give you strategies. If you're at a place that will give you strategies on how to pinpoint that visceral fat, I think that's great. And also, remember, we want to lose fat and gain muscle or maintain the muscle we have. That's tough to do on a GLP-1 or any weight loss journey, right? Because you're losing weight. So we just got to work on it, and we got to set goals for ourselves. And how are we going to know where these levels are? A DEXA scan, right? So get that DEXA scan. Also, monitor your inches lost. Are your clothes feeling better? Those are also wins too. But that DEXA scan is going to be a game changer when you get that. Number 7, eat your carbs strategically. Your body still needs those carbs. Your body still needs those carbs. They say the timing that you eat your carbs matter. And I'm going to agree with that. Now, I know it's calories in, calories out. You're in a calorie deficit or you're not. But I do think for me, I'm allowing my body to burn something other than carbs when I cut it out at night. So at night, I try to eat low carbs or no carbs, but I'm more carb heavy during the earlier part of the day. So that works for me. Your body still needs carbs, but I think we can be strategic on how we eat those. So eating fiber-rich carbs around your workouts, they say, is a great thing. Of course, we know choosing whole grains, veggies, and sweet potatoes. Have you thought you had to give up the sweet potato? Have a sweet potato. Avoid heavy starches right before bed. See, I'm doing that. I'm avoiding those heavy starches before bed. And I want to tell you, I used to wake up feeling so stuffed. Now I wake up feeling easy, breezy, lemon squeezy. And I know it's because I'm not eating heavy at night. Fuel your body to move, but don't fear those carbs, right? You want to fuel your body. Don't fear those carbs. And I remember I was, debating whether I should have a banana. And I'm like, why am I debating that? Let me eat that banana. No, am I eating bananas all day, every day? No, I'm not. But I think every once in a while, having a nice banana, is great. Now, some people would steer you away from that. Not on the Downsizing Diva channel. I would check with your doctor because if there's a reason why you shouldn't be eating bananas, maybe as a type 2 diabetic, your doctor told you to stay away from bananas, then stay away from bananas. Always follow your doctor's instructions. Number 8 is walking after your meals. Walking after your meals. They say even walking 10 minutes after your meals will help get your digestion going. It's going to lower your blood sugar, which is a great one if you're a type 2 diabetic. It's also going to trigger fat burning. All three, it's like a triple threat, right? To walk after those meals. So 10 minutes after dinner is a great start. Or just clean up the kitchen while moving. And so I'm going to say, I've been doing this a lot more. Instead of eating and sitting right down, I've been eating and moving, right? And I've been more intentional about it. I should say that because I think I've done it here and there, but now I'm like more intentional. So I love that. We're getting close. Number 9 is get your labs checked. Check for those hormonal imbalances. And I am telling you, this is a game changer. If you're doing all the things and still are stuck, those hormones can be holding you back. So ask your doctor or your healthcare provider to check your thyroid, which is your TSH, your T3 and T4, insulin, cortisol, which is that stress hormone, and estradiol, FSH, which if you're perimenopausal or menopausal, those are the hormones to check. If you go to my Stand store, I do have a free checklist that you could take with you to your doctor and make sure you're getting your full hormone panel workup. So good luck. If something's off, it may not be the meds. It may just be your hormones. And finally, number 10. What do you think number 10 is? I've hit a lot of things here. Number 10 is changing your emotional eating and mindset triggers. And if you've been following my journey, you know I told you I'm an emotional eater, not just for the sad occasions, not just for when I'm upset or angry or any of that, but also I'm a cheerful eater. I like to eat for all occasions. So I am such an emotional eater. And one of the things I am learning to do is stop and think and take that pause, right? That 5-minute pause. Pause before I eat something and just giving myself a check-in. I'm asking myself, am I really hungry or am I just thirsty? And if I drink some water, go for a couple of minutes and I'm still wanting something, then I can go from there. But the minute I think I want something and eat it, I'm trying to push back from that to help with my emotional eating. So we know that GLP-1s do not fix emotional eating. They just do not, right? So we have to do other things to kind of, put something in place that food was filling for us. If you're eating from boredom, stress, or just because the food looks darn good, you might want to take a second, reevaluate that, replace that with doing something else. Get that comfort menu out we talked about a while ago, where you have things that you can do instead of eat, and do one of those things on your menu or on your list. Do not reward yourself with food. Try to replace the rewarding yourself with something like reading a good book or watching a movie. or going to a movie. Another thing you can do, which I love, is the spas of it all, right? Go get a facial, get your nails polished, get your toes polished. Make yourself feel special and make yourself feel relaxed and do something that is going to invoke a memory that's not related to food. And the last thing is we don't want to sabotage ourselves with feelings of guilt. So if you just must have that treat, whatever your treat is, maybe it's a sweet treat or a savory treat, whatever you have, give yourself grace that you ate it and keep it moving, right? Don't labor over that. This is progress, not perfection. The progress could be that you didn't eat the whole plate of something or the whole box of something. You could have just had one or two instead of eating the whole thing. So give yourself grace and celebrate wins like that. So I'm just going to say to you, I'm never going to be one of those people that say, don't ever eat such and such again. Now, another thing that's helpful when you're an emotional eater is talking to a therapist if you feel you need to talk to somebody about your challenges and your struggles. So that's a great resource. If you have that resource or if your insurance covers that, that's an option. Also, surrounding yourself with communities like the Downsizing Diva community. I think that's great that we have a GLP-1 community that support and we celebrate each other and we try to uplift each other. And so if you have not found yourself a part of a GLP-1 community, you're welcome to join this one. I would love to have you here. I think going on this journey with people, like-minded people, is so helpful, is so encouraging, and it's going to help all of us ultimately reach our goals, right? And if you're already at your goal, to help you to continue to maintain it. That is it. Those are my 10 tips. And I just want you to remember, weight loss is like a roller coaster, right? There's going to be ups and downs. It's not going to be that straight line. There's going to be dips and curves, and you just have to go with the curve. Do the best you can do. And if you stumble, get right back up. What's that song? We fall down, but we get up. Remember, this journey is about progress, not perfection. Nobody's perfect on this journey. So you are not alone if you're not perfect either. But tweak some things, right? Tweak some things so you can get back on track. I want you to leave a comment and let me know which one of these game-changing tips you found to be helpful on your journey. Or let me know, is there a tip that I didn't talk about, something that has been useful for you? So let us know in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Let's help support each other. Thank you for watching. If you found these tips helpful, subscribe to my channel, like and share the video with somebody who is on a GLP-1 journey or could use these tips on any weight loss journey. If you want to interact with me live, I'm currently live 3 times a week. I'm live Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm live Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'm live Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I would love for you to come and interact with the Downsizing Diva community. If you need a little extra support, check out my store for freebies and tools to motivate you on your GLP-1 journey. I have a link in the description. And finally, I will say, on this journey, I want you to take great care of yourself. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit.